Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everyone, it is Brian Kaz here, joined by my friend and business partner, Sean Casey. If you can hear my voice and see my screen, which is just basically PowerPoint right now, just say a quick yes in the chat. All right, lots of yeses, so that's always good right there. All right, what we're going to do on this call right here, we had a request a couple weeks back to kind of show off how to use basically the tools inside of WebFire that actually change things with your site, like the SEO tags and stuff like that. We had a request to kind of show off how that's done. We do have walkthroughs and stuff, within the tools themselves that show off some of that. But we thought we'd have a call basically devoted not only to showing off how to do a lot of all that and kind of like walking you through not only how to change it, but what our thought processes and like some additional tips and stuff that you'd want to do to get the best results. So with us, we thought we'd kind of combine that into one call right here. And as always, if you guys ever have any other topics or stuff that you think would be neat for us to basically talk about on a future call, by all means, let us know. Either let us know in the chat here or just write support@webfire.com, and of course we'll try to make that happen at some point. You can also search through the prior calls and stuff we have inside the members area. Under the training tab, you'll see a bunch of prior Wednesday calls there, and of course you can search those and find basically topics that are of interest to you. So with that, we can get this show on the road. This is once again another Wednesday marketing webinar. My name's Brian Kaz, and I'm joined also by Sean Casey, and we'll do a live demo of how to fix, again, all sorts of SEO issues on your site with WebFire, and then we'll have time for an extended Q&A as well. If you have any other questions, whether they're related to SEO or basically anything with marketing at all, is fine. So it does not have to be related to the topic. And once again, we have these calls every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, which is right about now. If you're here or you're registered for this series, you'll get a reminder each week, so don't forget. But if you can't make one, we'll have the recordings in the members area within a day of any of the calls under the training tab on the left side navigation bar. So you click on the training, then you click on the Wednesday calls, and you'll see the most recent ones at the very top. This call, you'll see it there either by the end of the day or at some point by tomorrow at the latest right there. And we also have a free Facebook group that we encourage you to join. And if you join it, you have a chance to win $100 live at the end of this call. But you have to go to getwebfire.com/FB group. If you're not a member of that, again, it's free. Just click the join button and you'll be approved by Sharon, usually within like a minute or two or so, if you basically do so now. But we'll give you instructions on what to do later on this call to have a chance to win $100 live, and we'll do a live drawing at the end of this call. But again, that's at getwebfire.com/FB group. Now we can move on to the training for this week on showing off how to fix all sorts of SEO issues live with WebFire. So this will be more of like a hands-on demo inside of WebFire, where we'll be showing off some stuff live and basically talking through how to do it. So again, we'll first do the live demo of fixing SEO issues, and throughout that time, we'll also give additional SEO tips and examples and stuff. And then we'll have a Q&A that can be for anything, whether it's related to SEO or marketing, whatever you guys want. Feel free to ask, and then we'll follow that up, or wrap it up, I should say, with the cash giveaway, where you'll have a chance to win $100 live on this call. So I'm just going to pause it for a second as I switch on over to my browser to do the live SEO example right there. All right. Alrighty, so here we are inside of WebFire, and if you're looking to change stuff on your site, of course, one of the first things you want to do if you have a site is, of course, analyze your site and all that right there, which would just be under the SEO and keywords. Then you'd click on the analysis tool right there. So we've shown that off lots of times. That tells you lots of issues with your site, and you can, of course, fix those issues within that. But if you already know kind of that you just want to fix your site, you know about issues, you want to change the title tags and all that, not only can you analyze that and look at that within the analysis tool where you can just click the fix button to fix all those issues, but when you click fix, oftentimes it will basically open up the SEO configuration tool. This is how to fix the actual issues with your site. So you click on SEO and keywords, you scroll down to SEO configuration, you click that, and you go here. Now, you see there's two options, and I'll actually do a demo of both options. I actually made some dummy sites just to show off what you do from essentially scratch. So you have two options. One is if you have a WordPress site, you can launch the WordPress tool right here, which will allow you to download basically a WordPress plugin that can install on your site and fix that. The other one is if you just have a standard HTML site, there's a way to fix all that stuff on your site as well. Now we find that, in case you're not a techie or anything like that, a lot of blogs out there typically are WordPress. A lot of sites are also that too. If you don't have a WordPress site, most likely you probably just have a standard HTML site. So a lot of the majority of standard sites out there would just be an HTML site. And I'll go through how to fix both of these in a second. So let's say in this first example, let's say you just have a WordPress blog or a WordPress site. What you want to do, you'd want to click on Launch WordPress Tool right here. And it will give you some instructions. It also has like a walkthrough right here. You don't have to worry too much about that for the demo right here. All you'd have to do is you have to click on Download Plugin, and it will download a plugin. So wherever it basically downloads on your computer, you want to save that. And then after that, you'll want to log in to your WordPress site. So if you have a WordPress site, you have a login there where, of course, that's where you write your posts and do all that stuff. So obviously, if you've ever had a WordPress site, you would know how to log in to that WordPress site. And in this case, I'm just going to pull up a kind of like a fake demo WordPress site of ours in a second. I'm just going to pause the screen as I pull it up right here. All right. So inside here, or right now, we are inside of a fake WordPress site. This is essentially a demo that we just made right here. So once you log into WordPress, again, this is just WordPress itself. You'll be on the dashboard right here. And I already actually installed the WordPress plugin right here. If you didn't, all you'd have to do is you would go to plugins, you'd click on Add New. And then because you downloaded the plugin, you'd go to Upload Plugin right here. And the file that you just would have saved if you clicked basically the download at the prior step. So if you went again right here and clicked on download, you would basically just upload that file and you would have your plugin installed. Then you'd see it at the very bottom right here. This is basically the plugin right here. And you'd click on that, and then once you have that installed, you'd see this. So it'll just say WebFire on the side at the very bottom. This is the plugin on your WordPress site. And there's actually 3 different places that you can edit a bunch of SEO things. You can edit site-wide stuff, which is right here. You can edit stuff specifically on pages right here, and also within specific posts. And I'll show off all 3 of those in a bit. First, we'll focus on the site-wide ones, which is right here. And all you do is you basically type in what you want your title to be, what you want your description to be, and all that. So like, let's say, now this site is not on dogs or potty training or anything like that, but let's pretend that it was. You would have a homepage title where you'd want to have kind of like the main keyword somewhere in your title. And if you don't know what basically a title is, what you put here has a good chance of showing up in the search results as basically the blue link right here. So if we were having a site on how to basically potty train a puppy, you'd want to have something related to that. So you might first use the keyword research tool inside of WebFire, which is just right here. It's a keyword tool under SEO and keywords. And you might type in a term like potty train your puppy, or puppy potty training, or potty train your dog, or some term like that, and just see what the competitiveness is of a bunch of those words right there. And then, so in this case, let's say the keyword that you want to target is how to potty train your puppy. So a good keyword might be how to potty train your puppy. And then maybe what you could also do, if that keyword said, hey, you have a fairly easy chance of ranking for that word, if you use the keyword tool and discovered that, you might want to also make it an attractive title, like how to potty train your puppy. It's not bad, but it's kind of boring. If there's like 10, like if we go to a search result like this, if there's like 10 sites or so, and they all basically say the same thing, which one do you click on? Well, a lot of people might click the top one. They might click like a video that stands out. They all kind of blend in. So you want to make sure that the keywords you target not only are SEO friendly, but pop out a bit. So you might say maybe how to potty train your puppy dash 5-minute trick. So of course, if you actually had a 5-minute trick and whatnot. So a term like that, imagine if you saw 10 sites, even if this was like halfway down or towards the bottom page one, you'd be like, whoa, I want to find out what that 5-minute trick or method is. So you'd get a lot more clicks, and ironically too, or I shouldn't say ironically, and logically too, what Google does, the more clicks you get, especially relevant to the position you have, the more likely you are to move up in the rankings as well. So if there's a site towards the bottom of page one that gets more clicks, or a larger percentage of clicks than what a normal site there should get, they'll say, oh geez, people really like this, so we should move them up, especially if they not only click through, but stay on your site too. That's another big measurement right there. So you might add that as your title right there. And then the description, this is basically what shows up in the black text right here. So this is underneath the title tag. So for that, if the page was all about how to potty train a puppy, we might say several ways to potty train your dog fast. And what you can do here is you can try to target additional keywords and stuff too. Like notice here, we basically said puppy in the title tag. Maybe in the description, we want to target dog. We also added fast, which might be an additional keyword, like how to potty train your dog fast. Might not get nearly as many searches as the shorter one, but it's additional keywords and stuff that you can target to increase your chances of ranking for something there. And then for the homepage keywords, these are basically the keyword tags. Now, these aren't really as relevant now as they were years and years and years and years ago. These are basically keywords that you're telling Google you want to rank for. But a lot of people, like a lot of SEO experts, say that they're completely irrelevant now. From what we've seen, and we basically monitor tons of sites, and we can see rankings in real time on tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of sites, and we can see what correlations they have and all that. From our findings, we see that it doesn't matter a ton, but there's a little bit of an edge. So not a big deal if you leave it blank, but for that little bit of an edge, and for the fact it literally takes like 2 seconds to actually do, we do it. And this is just keywords that you'd want to rank for, like potty train your puppy, dog potty training, puppy potty training tricks, just, random keywords that you'd want to rank for and such. Now, this part right here where it says the site-wide head script, most of you can skip that. That's basically if you want to paste in additional scripts or stuff that you have elsewhere from other programs. For instance, if you have Google Analytics or other kinds of tracking, you could paste that in right here. Or even if you have, even if you have like extra things like any kind of pixels or anything like that, you can add in those right here onto your site right there. So we'll leave that blank right now, but you certainly can do that quite easily. So you can be an expert in like paste and analytics and pixels and all sorts of stuff without having to know how to mess with code. So we make that super easy. Now the schema markup, this is a way where you can paste the code in to add a schema. And on this page right here, it's the schema for the site-wide stuff. So for instance, we'll go, and for instance, to make a schema, we just go to schema markup right here. And let's pretend that we're a local business. You'd fill out the information right here, and then you'd have a chance to get a lot more information to Google and show up like, right here and such. And then what you do is you just, once you fill in all that info, you just click create code, and then you'd paste that code in right here. And this works for all the site-wide stuff. Like if, for instance, the local one is site-wide, and it will say like right here if it's site-wide or specific page. So like the navigation, which helps you look like this when you do a Google search, where it does not just show one site, but shows like multiple pages within your site. That's a site-wide one. So it will say if it's site-wide or a specific page. If it's a specific page, there's a separate way of doing that. So you wouldn't install that, or you wouldn't paste that in here, but you paste that in within the post itself, and I'll show you how to do that in a few moments there. So that's where you would paste in that stuff right there to give yourself a good chance of showing up very well on Google. And just to give you an example, I know most of you know what a schema is. But that would be an example of a schema, like all this right here and this whole thing on the right side. That's all done through the use of a schema there. So yeah, so that's pretty straightforward right there. And you just add that in right there. The only other thing you see right there is what's called an add viewport tag. Now, a lot of themes on WordPress automatically might have the equivalent of like a viewport tag within the scheme. So you don't have to worry too much about that in that case, but if not, you could check this off either way. Basically what it does is it kind of scales your page depending upon the device viewing the page. So if someone's on a phone versus like a monitor, you wouldn't want the same size page on a small phone screen as you would on a computer screen. It'd look really odd. So it automatically kind of adjusts the scale of your page for that. Now, some themes on WordPress, again, as I said, automatically do that. But if not, you can just check this off right here, and it will kind of automatically do that for you if you don't have that, or if you don't have something else to automatically adjust that for you right there. Then after you do that, you just click Save Changes, and you'd be done with that. So that's how easy it is to kind of fix all those SEO issues on your site. Now, as far as how long does it take for Google to see those changes, it depends. And it largely depends on like the popularity of your site among other stuff. Like they have a bunch of bots that basically check out your sites over time. If you have a site that they know gets updated a lot, they might check your site several times a day. If you have a brand new site that you barely post any content to, or you have an old site that you haven't posted to in like 5 years, you're probably going to check your site several times a day, but they might send a bot by maybe once a week or every other week or so, just to see, until they see that you're having more activity. And once they see the changes, within time, that they'll start to basically pick up on that. Now, typically, it can range anywhere from a couple hours to a couple weeks, depending upon, again, all those factors right there. Now, if you want to speed that process up, you can go to SEO and keywords right here, and then you can go down to submit your site, and then all you do is you basically enter the URL of your site or your blog post page, whatever page that you updated, whether it be your main site or a specific blog post or page. Click submit, and it will kind of knock on the front door of a bunch of big sites and stuff for you to basically say, hey, we updated our site, please check us out. And that can speed up the process there quite oftentimes too. So definitely keep that in mind. The other thing that you'd want to do after you click save, and of course, if you're like a technical guy or anything like that, if you want to get fancy, you can view the HTML of your page and see the changes made. Most of you aren't an HTML programmer or anything like that, so you don't have to worry about that. You just have to make sure you click save. Now, if you want to change a specific page itself, so on WordPress, you have your main site. You can have basically pages, or it's almost like a category. Like if you have a page on, you know, let's say a page on Siberian Huskies, and then a page on pugs. You know, you could change those, and if you have a specific blog post, you can edit stuff there. So for the pages, you just click on pages right here, and then for any of these, you could just go down, like let's say we want to edit this page right here. We just click the edit on any of the pages we want, and then we'd scroll down to the WebFire plugin right here, and this is where we can specifically change the title tag, which again is kind of like the blue link that the search engine sees on that page. This is where we can change the description of that page, and this is where we can add the keywords, which again, this isn't as big of a deal right there. And this is where we can add a page-specific schema markup. So as we saw with the schema, there's some that are page-specific. So like if you had a product page, like a page that sold a Siberian Husky coffee mug or anything like that, we could add a specific, like, you know, we could add a specific schema to that right there. Same thing, you'd fill out the, you know, info, click create code, and then you'd paste it in right there, and you would be done with that. So pretty easy stuff right there. And then you just click update, and you'd be done with that right there. The other thing, you can also do the same thing within posts too. So if you have like a blog post or anything like that, you could just click the edit button right here. You go to your post, scroll down right here, and you have the exact same info right there, where you could change what the title tag of the post would be, what the description would be, you know, what the schema would be. So you can change all that stuff within every blog post and every page and stuff that you want right there. And you want to, again, every page or every blog post that you have, you want to make sure that you specifically target the title tag and stuff to not only be relevant to what you have on that page. Like usually the title tag should somewhat match what the title of your blog post is. So in this case, the title of the blog post is Staying Hydrated in the Wild. So we want to make sure that maybe the title tag is somewhat close to that right there, but we can add additional terms or stuff to that if we think that would help. Then you could add whatever description you want right there that, again, maybe contains relevant keywords and such like that. So that's how you would change all the SEO stuff on the WordPress side. Again, not terribly hard to actually do with the plugin here. We make it fairly easy to do right there, so you don't have to know how to edit HTML or anything like that. So that's what's kind of cool with that. So now moving back, that is how you do it on the WordPress side. So the other option was with HTML. So it's kind of what, if you don't have WordPress, you probably just have a standard HTML type site. And to do that is a little different, but kind of along the same lines. You just click launch. So after you click on SEO configuration, or if you click on fix on the website analysis on any issue, if you click fix, oftentimes it'll go to this right here. You can click on launch easy HTML editor tool, and it will basically, here I won't show you all that stuff. I'll actually just pause it for a second. You couldn't see the password, but I don't want to show off all that info. It will basically have, here I'll just, write this out real quick. All right. So when you click that, you would go to this right here, which will basically ask you to enter your FTP or SFTP. SFTP is more secure, but it depends upon what your host basically offers. On mine, it's SFTP, which is more secure. You'd have to check what yours is within your host. But if you don't know, on any host you have, there's usually like settings button where you can see what your FTP info is, or it might just say FTP or SFTP, or if you just search basically help docs for FTP or SFTP login info, you should see it right there. Worst comes to worst, you can email or call them and ask what your info would be. Now, when it asks for the host name, the majority of hosts, not all, the majority of hosts will have your host name as your website. So if your website is yourwebsite.com, you would enter that. Now, some hosts have something that looks a bit more weird, like this. Like it will say like a bunch of numbers .11 data.host or some weird stuff like that. You would have to basically type in what it says your host name should be. So for a lot of you, it will just be your website. Some other hosts have it be a little bit different looking. So you just have to have that info, which you can easily get through your host. Then you would type in your username, which is the username for your FTP or SFTP, which again, you should see within your web host account. If not, you can call them up or email them, and they can usually easily get you that info. Then the password would be the password to that. And then you just click login, and I'm just gonna pause the screen again as I actually log in with my real info right here. So you can see what that would look like. So I just need to grab that stuff really quick again and log in with that info. Again, this is just a demo site, but all right. All right, so once again, in case you just popped on, I just pause the screen as I log in with the actual info. All right. All right, so I clicked login, I show up right here. If you have the incorrect info and you click login, it will say that your login failed, and obviously you have the info wrong, so you'd have to fix that. Now, every host can be a little bit different, so it depends upon what your host is. A lot of times you'll automatically be dropped into what's called like the root access folder or the main one, which we are in this case. And in that case, the main site or the home page would just be index.html, which you'd see right here. If you don't see an index.html, you might have to click a folder called like www first or something like that. Again, it depends on the host that you have, but when you click on that, you would see that. And again, you can click on any of these, and it will basically take you to the screen with all the files and all that, so you can easily find everything on your site. You can also choose, obviously, if you want to upload like a new page by hand, you can do all that. I wouldn't recommend that unless you know what you're doing. but like let's say in this case, you know, you want to change your homepage route. You just click the edit, and our tool will basically pop up with similar info, like what do you want the title tag to be, what do you want the keywords, what do you want the description. You can also add, again, like a Facebook or Google pixel. So if you want to do Google Analytics, or if you do Facebook ads and you want to add a Facebook pixel, you can paste that in right here. Similar to the WordPress, then we also have the schema stuff. So if you want to add in the codes right there, you can. So you change up that. The only other option you see here is that you can add keywords to missing image alt tags. So what's kind of neat here is if you have a bunch of images on your site, what an image alt tag is basically a keyword assigned to a picture you have. Most people that load a picture, it'll just be called like 1157928.jpg if it's like a picture of a zebra, where really you want a picture of a zebra to be called like zebra, or you know, zebra eating, or seeing a zebra on a safari, or you know, some search term relevant to what the picture is. But what you can do is if you click yes, it can cycle through the keywords that you have right here, and any of the images that are missing an alt tag, it can automatically assign one of those right there. So you can easily do that right there. And again, just like with the WordPress, the same rules apply for the title tag and the description and all that. You want to make sure, again, that they're not only SEO relevant, but on top of that, you want to also make sure that it's enticing to kind of click through on those as well right there. And again, this is stuff that you do on the home page. Now, if you want to edit, like, let's say you have a specific page, like let's say, we'll just click that. Now, obviously, if you've made this change and you're happy, you click update file, and you'd be done right there. And as a precaution, it automatically makes like basically a backup file for you. So in case you update a bunch of stuff and you're like, oh crap, I just completely messed this all up, you can easily see the backup that it makes in a separate folder for you. So just in case you accidentally click update when you didn't mean to, it creates a backup for you. So just keep that in mind. But we'll just click back right here. And now if we had like other pages on our site, like let's say we had one page on zebras. You know, we might have a page on zebras, on horses, and all sorts of stuff like that. We can see what any of those pages would be. So like usually if you have a site that, let's say, you know, your main page, which is your home page, would be called index.html. So if you have a website called mysite.com, if you go to that, index.html would be the home page for what's shown there. If you have a separate page, let's say called like services or anything like that, and let's say it's mysite.com/services, it would then it should show up down here as like services.html or some name like that. You just see that right there, and you do the exact same thing. You would find that page, you'd click the edit, and then you would change the exact same stuff that we just saw. I would go through that same thing right here, and on any page like that, for like the schema, you could add the specific page schema, whereas for the home page, it would be the site-wide stuff. So you can easily add in that stuff there. You can change around any page you want right there. So hopefully this makes sense. If anyone's confused so far or anything like that, let me know in the questions real quick. I'll take a quick look before I move on. So just want to make sure I'm not above anyone's head. All right.
Yeah, you didn't have any questions on that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I see a bunch of other questions that I'll basically get to in the Q&A part, which we're approaching pretty soon because I left plenty of time for that. So that's how you would change around all that. But again, the key here is to always kind of make sure, you that any of the changes that you do, you want to also this is because we're specifically asked how to do the changes and how all that works right there, whether it be on the WordPress like this or on a standard HTML site. It's important that you not just change the title tags and the descriptions and all that stuff to not just any random keywords, but one that you have a good chance of ranking for. And as I said before, to increase your chances of that, you always want to make sure that you use the keyword tool right here to find hey, what relevant keywords are not only good, as in they get a decent amount of traffic or appear to be good, but also you'd have an easier chance of ranking for. I find oftentimes guys say, oh, I have a site for men over 60 on how to lose weight, or I have a site for how to help with diabetes, and they think, well, gee, since diabetes is related to health, I want to rank for health, and then they change their title tags to try to rank for health and stuff, which they'll never rank for because it'd be ridiculous. Not only is it super competitive there, but it has nothing to do directly with diabetes. Yes, they're related, but the keyword has nothing to really do with that right there. So you want to make sure that you give yourself the greatest chance of ranking by picking the right keywords and stuff and the best keywords to rank for, and only then going here and changing up all that stuff that again you can change right here. So again, super easy to do all this. Don't overthink it. And on top of that too, if you do get lost or anything like that, you can not only review this recording right here, because I literally just kind of walked you through it, but also under any of the tools, there's the tutorials that have the walkthrough and stuff on them right there. So what I'll do now is that's kind of the main part of how to fix all the SEO issues and stuff. We'll save some time to do some other questions you guys have, and then we'll jump back and give you guys a chance to win some cash and stuff. So let me just go over some of the prior questions. So one of the questions we had was there's a person that asked that said that there's a lot of people that say SEO is dead. Is it worthwhile to still do? Well, first of all, SEO is kind of not dead because, well, how many of you have done a Google search at some point in time recently? I'm guessing the vast majority of you have. Now, is it harder to rank compared to 5 to 6 years ago? Yes, I mean, because way back when it was far easier to rank. I mean, if you went 10 or 15 years back, if you just had a site, you'd get ranked. In fact, I think when I was a kid, I was able to rank for stuff that now would be considered insanely hard to rank for. But if you follow the rules and do the stuff correctly, it's not all that hard. But the main thing is you absolutely have to do the keyword research. You have to target the keywords, not only on your title and in the description, but on top of that, you want to make sure that the keywords that you target there that you also have within the content of your site and stuff too. So you want to make sure that that the page or the post is completely relevant to what you're trying to target to, and that it matches those keywords and all that right there. All right. Someone said they don't have the plugins. This is all included in WebFire. I showed you how to get to the plugin. So you just go to SEO configurations, and then it'll basically ask you if you have a WordPress site, which would have the plugin, or if you have an HTML site right there. All right, and yes, there are other kinds of plugins that do SEO. So it's not a big deal of which plugin you use on the WordPress side, as long as you're able to easily change things like the title tag and the description, and if you can add in the schema, you can do that. Great. There's a lot of them that sometimes don't have some of those features, so just kind of look out for that. All right. There's a question right here that says, based on the link you provided, I'm not quite sure what link you're referring to, Would more Google searches mean that you need better SEO? In that case, we should give it more attention. Not necessarily. No. So if there's more searches in Google, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily more competitive. In some cases, that might be. Yes, there's tons of keywords that get a lot of searches and therefore are very competitive, but there can also be some that get a lot of searches but aren't necessarily all that competitive. So that's what the keyword tool is useful for, because you can see which ones are which. And on top of that, it's not just the search volume that you want to look at. It's also like how likely is the person searching for the keyword to be a buyer? And for that, I say kind of use common sense. Like if you're trying to rank for someone looking to, I don't know, let's say buy an autoresponder, a keyword like, you know, get response versus a Weber would be a pretty good indicator that they're probably deciding to buy one of those two, so it'd be a pretty good buyer. Or someone searching for a phrase like, you know, what is the best autoresponder? Might not get a ton of searches, but you can bet that they're most likely a buyer. So it could be worthwhile to basically target those, especially if there's not a lot of competition there. All right. And yes, a person asked if they can use more than one SEO plugin on a site. Yeah, you can, but sometimes it's not necessarily needed. All right, this person said, will the schema markup be empty the first time we open it? Yes, if you don't have a schema, nothing would be there first. Oh yeah, this that person asked here, if they have a site that is not a WordPress site, can they still do SEO changes and use WebFire? Yes, the vast majority of the time, yeah. If it's not WordPress, they're usually some kind of like an HTML site, which we have the HTML option that I showed off. If it's another kind of platform, usually there's almost always ways of accessing either the HTML or accessing ways to change things like the title tags and stuff. If there's a platform that like does not, and there's like no way of changing any of the tags or anything, that's probably not a platform that you'd want to be on. Okay. Okay, this person said, can you set a schema with a website that has only one page with all the info on one JPEG picture? So two parts to that answer. Yes, you can add a schema to any website, even if it's one page or 1,000 pages, you can do that. That's all fine. But having said that, if you have a website that has like, sometimes there's some sites that have one giant image and the image has like text on it, so there's no actual basically text on that site, just a giant image. That tends to not be good for ranking because Google basically sees one giant image on a blank page, basically. And that, I mean, there's loopholes and ways around that where like you can rank those, like you can have the image alt tag and stuff be a bunch of text and stuff, but it's best to at some point have normal text on a site if you're trying to rank a local business. Is it possible to rank with just one image and nothing else? Yeah, just like, you know, it's possible to do a lot of stuff that isn't necessarily easy or recommended. Okay. Okay, All right, as first said, should you have a schema for every web page of the site? It depends. There's site-wide ones and there's page-specific ones. Site-wide, as I said, you can put on the main page or the main site or the index page, or like on the main dashboard right here inside of WordPress, and it will basically update, you know, all the pages. A page-specific one, like let's say you have a product, like let's say you sell 100 products and one of the products is a coffee mug. and you want to like change stuff specifically to the coffee mug page, or you want to have a page that has a schema that shows the price of the mug and all that, that would be a product or page specific schema right there, which you would have to add that on that specific page right there. All right. This person asks, what should you do for subdomain sites? The exact same thing. So a subdomain is basically treated like a separate website. So you do the exact same thing that we basically just said right here. Okay. And yes, occasionally there are like new kinds of schemas and stuff, and we do randomly add those in and such. In fact, we just actually added like 2 or 3 new ones within the past couple or few months or so, and yeah, we'll be adding more as time goes on right there. Okay. All right, and Rebecca says it looks like she's glad she saw this call here, because she was having issues until she saw this, and she said it looks a lot easier now. So that's always good right there. Okay, this person asks here, is there an advantage to using more than one SEO plugin, and is there an advantage to having both? Not really. I mean, it's and you don't want it to conflict. Like, you don't want one to say I want the title tag this and the other to say the opposite, because that you can't have both at the same time. So as long as you have one that can change the stuff I said, that's fine. Don't overthink that too much there. Okay. All right, and yeah, if so, on that note too, sometimes people might have like for instance, if you have 2 plugins and on both of them you can change the title tags, there can sometimes be like an issue if you say, hey, I want one of the one of the plugins to have the title tag of, you know, this, and the other one to have the title tag of that. It can cause an issue, because it's kind of like you can't do 2 things at the exact same time right there. So if they both say the same thing, you should be fine there. Okay. And this person said, do they have to use the same theme I showed? No, you can use any theme you want inside of WordPress. A theme is just kind of like a look of the site. This is just basically a demo that I had. This person asked, where do you get the schema code? Within the schema tool. So to get that, you just go here. I'll show you right here. You just go to SEO and keywords. Go down to schema markup. You go to right here. You'll pick the kind of schema you want. Just with basically the drop down, you pick the site you want right there, and then you just click create code, and that's how you get the code that you can then paste in, you know, on the places like, you know, right here and such on the schema markup. So that's how you do that. All right. All right. Lots of other questions popped up. Looks like Sharon's answered most of them, or they're duplicates of one that we already kind of answered right here. And yeah, if you have, so there's a couple questions here. If they have like a lot of pages, would they have to go through each one by one? No and yes. Like if you have a bunch of pages that each basically target basically different things, you would want to actually take the time to go through each of those pages and make sure that basically the title tags are relevant to those posts or pages, and that you have the best chance of basically ranking each of those, because it's kind of a waste to not do that. But yeah, but it's not like you have to rush that or anything. All right. All right, here's a question right here. So there's a couple asking like, is WebFire just with SEO? No, there's a lot of tools outside of SEO. Like there's the lead tools, there's the social media tools, there's tools to like kind of spy on a competition, tools to find leads out there, a whole bunch of things. On this call right here, we're just specifically talking about the SEO stuff for right now, because that was one of the requests that we had. All right, what I'll do right now is I'll actually I'll switch back screens and give the link away to win some cash. And then I'll go back to answering questions as you guys do that right there. So just want to make sure that we don't go too late here. All right, so to win $100, and we'll still answer questions and stuff that you guys have, you want to go to getwebfire.com/FB group. If you're not a free member of that, just click join, and Sharon will probably prove you within a minute or two. Towards the very top, you see a post from Sharon. You'll see it basically dated within a half hour ago, asking what you thought of today's call. Leave a comment within that post. So make sure you leave a comment within that post, not on the old post from like a week or two ago or anything like that. Make sure it's a comment within that post right there, and we'll pick a random winner, and you'll see the drawing live. We'll pick a random winner in like 5 or so minutes to give some cash away to. And with that, Sean, have you seen any other questions that I maybe missed? I see there's a lot of other questions, but I know a lot are like duplicates or comparable to ones that we've already answered.
So good questions. A couple things that we have. Whoops, sorry, I completely lost it. Okay, so somebody's asking like, how do they know which keyword? Well, okay, so let me try to encompass like 7 questions into 1 or 2. So one thing that somebody's asking is like, can they compete for any keyword? And the answer is yes, you can. But so you could compete, for example, for weight loss. Okay, now does compete mean that you can put up a web page tomorrow and get on the front page of Google for weight loss? Highly unlikely. So let's examine why that is. You have companies competing with you that have a head start and are multi-billion-dollar companies, right? Every major weight loss company in the world wants to be there, and you're like, hey, I'm going to go beat these guys, right? So big competition for a high volume keyword, not an easy place to start. Doesn't mean you can't go and try and do that, but there are easier places to start. Multiple multiple word keywords or keyword phrases, right? Okay, so when you say, oh, I want to go promote my weight loss product, you want to start with the keyword tool, and you want to go in there and find out which keywords are easier for me to get some traffic from, okay, which generally are going to be the ones that aren't the same one that everybody else has glommed onto and is fighting for to start with. Okay, it doesn't mean you can't compete for a highly competitive keyword. It just means it is by definition more competitive. You're going to have to work harder to do that. The other thing is, somebody asked a good question. If you remember, like, I don't know, whenever we did the site analysis 3 or 4 weeks ago, we talked, there was a golf instruction site. One of our customers is a world-class golf instructor. They're golfers on the European tour who've won major golf tournaments, he's their coach, right? So the question is, so in promoting his site online, because it's really in its infancy, should he promote like specific products and talk about specific products, like a brand of a putter or something like that? And the answer is, well, you could do that, but think about what someone's searching for, right? So if somebody's searching for like, a golf putter, is that person a good, man, I can't think of the word. It just completely went out of my brain. So it's what happens when you get old. Okay, you forget things. But is that person a good qualified prospect for what you're trying to sell, which is golf instruction? And the answer is probably not as good as the person who searches a term like how to be a better putter, how to learn how to putt well, how to read greens, okay, how to make long putts, how to make short cuts, how to overcome the yips, which is what they call it when you're a golfer and you go up to a short putt and you do weird stuff and miss the putt because you get all nervous and your muscles do funny things. Okay, so the person searching that, way better prospect to buy golf instruction, right? So when you're thinking about these keywords, don't just think about, well, you know, I want to have everything, because eventually you would, and if you had $1 billion budget, you'd want to have everything. But what you really want is the best people who are most specifically going to be targeted for you that you can compete for. Okay, and think about it another way, like televisions. Like, would you like to be #1 on Google for television? Of course. But this person who searches television, you don't even know what they're looking for, right? You don't know if they're looking to buy a TV. You don't know if it's a third grader who's got to write a report on the history of television, right? Okay. But if you could rank for a specific model of television review, like what do I have in my office? Like a LG 46-inch, LED TV, right? Okay. And if it probably has a model number on the back, right? So if I ranked for that review, right, man, there's a guy looking for that. He's buying a TV. He might not buy that one, but he's buying a TV because the only reason you ever go look is to do that, right? So am I going to get less traffic than if I was #1 for television? Yes. Can I probably rank for that term? Way more likely. If someone gets to my page, am I really, really, really having a good chance of getting a guy to click and buy? 100%, absolutely no question. So that's the short answer.
All right.
Brian, I dare you to add.
No, good answer there. There's a couple other questions here. There's one that's saying, how can they tell in WebFire what keywords they should try to go for? Well, and then they're basically asking, like, you know, what percentage, you know, optimization stuff. So I'll basically sum up a few of those questions in one. So using the keyword tool, we make this super easy. So don't overthink this. Green is good, red is bad. It does not mean you can't rank for a red word, just means it will most likely be a bit more tough. So any green one typically is good. Now, the percentage that you see on the far right side, the higher the percent, the more easier it is to rank. So if there's something that's like, you know, 90 or 100%, that means you have a very easy chance in the vast majority of cases. It's not guaranteed, but a very easy chance in most cases of ranking on page 1, with only a few exceptions there. And those are almost always in green. So you'd want to pick kind of a few of those to try to rank for, and definitely don't just focus on one. Pick like a variety of keywords, because the problem is sometimes I see guys that try to focus only on one keyword and they put all their eggs in one basket. And realistically, if you're in any niche, there are hundreds, if not thousands or tens of thousands of keywords in that niche. So if you focus only on one, not only are you basically ignoring everyone else out there, but you're having all that risk. Because if you try to rank for like 5 keywords, let's say you only rank for 4 out of 5, are you still happy? You should be. Who cares about the one that you don't rank for? Even if you only rank for like 1 out of 5, that's 1 out of 5 that you rank for. That's a keyword that you rank for. So that's good right there. Now, as far as how to tell when you optimize your site, so when you use the analysis tool, we also give you a percent of how well optimized the site is. That only looks at how well optimized that specific page is for the keyword that you entered. Now, if you enter a competitive keyword, you can have a page that's almost 100% optimized, but it won't necessarily mean that you rank for that. So you have to always make sure that the keyword you try, or the keywords that you try to rank for, you have a chance to rank for, and then the analysis tool will basically tell you like how optimized that page is. So if it's highly optimized and it's a keyword that you have a good chance of ranking for, both those combined mean you should have a good chance of ranking. Now, a person asked here, how can they tell when they get a ranking? Well, there's 2 ways. 1, you can search on Google and see if you rank or not. And 2, we actually have a rank tracker tool inside of WebFire. It's one of the included tools under SEO and keywords. It's just rank tracker, and it actually tracks your ranking. So you can, like, if you want to type in like 50 keywords, it can track even from multiple different places. Like if you want to see what you rank from the US or Australia or, you know, UK or anything like that, you can, and it will basically check that every day. And as you get new, you know, rankings and stuff, it can update you on that. And you can also just click the update or refresh, and it will recheck every time you log in. Those rankings you can easily recheck with a click of a button. And see. So like this person said, if they had a client, how can they tell when their client gets ranked? Well, that's one way that you could tell right there. All right. And Jared, yes, you should be able to upload videos that you already made with the WebFire tool, but you have to make sure there's two options. One is to make your own, one is to upload your own right there. So if you can't do one, make sure to write support@webfire.com and make sure to describe exactly what you're trying to do right there, because that works not just with videos that we make, but also other ones as well. As far as I know, there was no maintenance on that, but I could be wrong. So just make sure to write support@webfire.com. That should all be doable right there. All right.
So here's one last question, Brian. Okay.
Sure.
So it's a long question, so listen carefully. Okay, from
Okay.
Arcady. Outside of Twitter and guest post lead outreach built into WebFire, what are the other tools that can be used to maintain the client's ranking and traffic that justifies the client paying monthly for SEO?
Sure. So, well, there's a few things right there. So basically, I think what they're kind of asking is, outside of the tools that can do the research on the keywords and can adjust, you know, their title tags and stuff, how can you justify a monthly price? I think that's what they're really kind of asking. Like, what other ways can you get them to basically justify that? And well, there's a few answers to that right there. First, don't overthink that. If there's a client that says, hey, here's 5 keywords that I'm trying to rank for, and you rank for even some of those, they're going to walk away incredibly happy, okay? And oftentimes, 9 times out of 10, just by changing the title tags and the description tags and the keywords on the page itself, 9 times out of 10, especially for local businesses, you can get those guys ranked without having to do anything else. And they'll be incredibly happy. Now, realistically, yeah, some guys could leave and say, okay, well, I got the rankings and I'm done. And the problem is, like, if they lose those rankings, then they're kind of screwed and they look like a fool. But more importantly, what you can do is you can say, hey, I got you ranked for these right here. For this monthly fee, we'll continue not only helping you maintain these rankings, but we'll try to shoot for some additional keyword rankings as well. And here's why that's super important, because obviously the more keywords you rank for, the more likely you are to get more traffic, the more likely you are to maintain all that, yada, yada. But you can also, if you really want to add in more incentives or upsell them into other stuff, we have the social media tool that can put the social media on autopilot, so you can maintain like their Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and stuff like that, so it can post for them on their behalf, whether it's once a day, once a week, or whatever you want right there. So that's ongoing, easy work that you can do for them through, you know, the tool. There's also lead tools and stuff. So let's say you know, you're like or you have a client that's like a realtor. You can use Tweet Lead Finder or really any of the other lead tools to possibly find leads for them. Like with the Tweet Lead Finder with the realtor example, you can find leads of people in their local area looking to move, or looking to you know, house hunting there, or looking to sell their house, or, you know, awesome leads that any realtor would be like, oh, not only can I get ranked and through you guys, but I also get these leads. This is a crazy deal. Or if, let's say, you have a client who sells, you know, I don't know, basically back pain stuff for like special equipment. You can use the real-time lead finder or the rank lead finder, even tweet lead finder, not only find people in back pain, but people asking questions on certain, methods or tools or products that might help, and you can basically get them a ton of leads there. You can also make videos and stuff for them that you can try to rank for them to grab additional leads and rankings. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff. So don't just think. Month one is usually the easiest month to get results, because oftentimes just changing a title tag and all that around can get them drastic results. But I think what the concern really is, even though the person hasn't mentioned it, they're basically thinking, well, gee, if I can get people ranked by just changing around a few simple things, can I really get paid a lot of money? And the reason why that mindset is kind of off is like, you're thinking of the total time that it takes you to achieve that. I mean, especially using the tools, a lot of the stuff you can basically achieve in minutes. Doesn't take a ton of time. And that can be worth thousands of dollars to the right person, because an entrepreneur doesn't look at, well, how much time does this really take an expert to do? They look at, well, what's the end result? Did I get the rankings? Did I get the extra traffic? Did I get the extra sales? That's what they look at. I mean, kind of like if your ship is sinking in the middle of shark-infested waters, okay, do you really call around 1,000 people and say, well, I don't know. I mean, this guy says he can fix this in 2 minutes, but, he's kind of pricey, and, I don't know if that's really worth it. So I'm going to wait here and maybe see, if there's a guy, there's a guy here that says, hey, he can fix this in one week. And I think that's more worth his time, because his hourly rate, would equal out to it being less. So I'm going to take this guy that will solve this problem in a week and risk my entire ship sinking in shark-infested waters. No, that'd be stupid. Everyone would say, oh, hell yeah, I'll go for this guy that can fix it in a minute or two. I don't care that he's $1,000, because I'd rather not sink my entire ship and get eaten by sharks. So that's kind of what the way you want to change your mindset and think like that. But there's tons of extra like tools and features and services that you can do there to add extra value to either upsell them and do other stuff, or to try to say, hey, here's all the extra ongoing benefits that you can get. Because once you get them any initial results, they're super happy and excited and more likely to stay with you for a long time versus leave right there. All right, this person said here, and yeah, this is the same thing regardless of what niche you're in. All right, one last question, then we'll give some cash away. All right, or two questions I'll do. So one said, how can I find out what my website FTP or SFTP is? You can log into your host account, and it should list it somewhere in there. If you go to the help files and just basically type in FTP or SFTP, it'll probably tell you exactly where to find it. Or worst comes to worst, just call your host or email them, and they'll tell you exactly what your login is on that. Last question here. They said, if there was one, or what is the one thing that you think has the most direct benefit for SEO? And that would be changing around your title tags to be relevant not only to your page, but to the keywords that basically give you a better chance of ranking. If you change around your title tags alone can oftentimes get you rankings that you couldn't previously get. Like with basically the tennis shop site that we sometimes use as an example, this was a guy that was ranked nowhere for any keyword. And just by basically changing around the title tags and the descriptions, and sometimes like a few, like making sure that the keywords were also mentioned on the web page itself, just by changing those few easy things around, within a matter of days, we got them ranked for several dozen terms in Google as the #1 results. So not just on page one, but #1 on page one, just by changing around some super easy things. And that doesn't have to take a long time. I mean, all those, we had like a lot of pages and a lot of terms, but you're basically talking like maybe like an hour or so of work to get this guy amazing results that was probably worth a fortune to him right there. So with that, let's pause the screen and give some cash away. So I'm just gonna go back to not PowerPoint, the browser here. All right, gonna refresh the screen. All right, so once again, you want to go to getwebfire.com/FB group to do the free post to get our free a comment. I'd have a chance to win. So what you want to do, you want to scroll down to this post right here, where you see it's from an hour ago from Sharon asking what you thought on today's call. Just click the comment, leave a comment within that. I see there's 57 right now. And I'll pick a random winner in maybe 10 seconds. So again, I'll do a countdown right here. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm just gonna refresh the page really quick then. All right, so it looks like we have 60 comments so far there. I'll count ones outside, just in case some posts outside yours. All right, some posted outside, but I guess we'll count those as 1, 2, 3. All right, 3 plus 60. All right, these all there. So that's 63. Sean, what do you think the winner will be? It's 1 to 63. We're going to random.org to pick a random.
7.
7? That'd be awesome. It'd be super easy.
I'm going to make it really easy on you
57.
today.
57.
Oh, I was close.
Yeah,
I had a number.
Half it, right? All right.
About as close as I get.
So it was 57. So there were 60 within here. So it'd be 60, 59, 58, 57. All right. So Stephen Peter Wiley, if that is you, and you had a picture next to a train right there, almost kind of looks like the Hogwarts train, but I don't think it is. If that is a you or looks like you, congratulations. You are $100 richer, or you will be, as soon as you post up your PayPal email to Sharon in the chat box. So just mention that in the chat box to Sharon, and she will pass that on to you shortly this afternoon. So again, congratulations to Stephen Peter Wiley for being this week's Wednesday Marketing Webinar winner and winning $100. All right, guys. So hope you got a lot of value out of the training here. And if there's any other questions or anything that we missed, or anything like that at all, feel free to reach out to us at support@webfire.com, and we'd be happy to answer that. Okay. All right. All right. And yes, we'll have the replay of this up in the members area within about a day, either by tonight or tomorrow morning, if not. And we'll also probably post it up on the Facebook group page as well right there. So with that, guys, I hope you have a great rest of the day and rest of the week. And again, any other questions, reach out to us at support@webfire.com. All right, so with that, we will see you guys next week, again, every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So thanks, guys. Have a great rest of the week, and take care.